Thank you very much, Adam Musambo. With me in the studio to speak on the historic signing of the 2020 budget by President Muhammadu Buhari is a development economist and a professor at the University of Abuja. That is Professor Nazifi Abdullahi Dama. Professor Dama, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, and good evening, Nigerians.
All right, let's go straight to it.
Yeah.
We're seeing this happen just twice in the last 20 years. What is the implication? What is the significance of the January to December cycle?
Well, this is an extremely significant stride in the economic development stride of Nigeria, because we are a developing economy, and an economy that is significantly dependent on the spending of the public sector. So any slight delay on the part of public sector spending have negative reverberating effect on the economy.
Yeah.
Now, with this signing and the passage and the restoration of the cycle, it will go a long way in boosting business cycle, and it also improve confidence in the economy. But most importantly, it will give private sector practitioners the ability to define their plans and business projections in the context of a definite horizon that coincides with the normal budget cycle.
Are we also seeing that for foreign investors?
Well, for foreign investors, yes. Every investor, whether he's a Nigerian or foreign investor, the predictability with which the budget cycle is passed goes a long way in making them to align their activities with the normal budget cycle, and that goes a long way in improving confidence. And you know, every economy exists and operates on the basis of anticipation.
Yeah.
Particularly anticipated confidence of what the government is likely to do. So the positivities associated with the passage of the budget will go a long way in improving significantly the economy, provided implementation of the budget is to the fullest, and that we don't have serious revenue shortfalls as we have witnessed in the last 3-4 years.
Very quickly, before we go to the issue of implementation, the question in the minds of a lot of people, yes, it's been signed. So what next?
Well, the most important thing is to look at the specific impediments that have necessitated the delay in the implementation of the budget provisions in the previous years.
Okay.
And one of the major impediments is the delay in releases. But if you say that there is an impediment in the delay of releases, then you also look at the fact that there has been consistent revenue shortfalls. Now, the most important thing is for us, beyond this budget, to have a national consciousness and discussion of what we can do to completely insulate this economy from the shocks associated with fluctuations in oil revenue, meaning more export or more non-oil export, but also importantly more internal tax revenue, because our tax revenue to GDP is one of the lowest among the developing countries at around 6-8%, less than 10%.
Lastly, there have been challenges with execution, monitoring of budgets in the past. What are we likely to see with this January-December cycle?
Well, I think beyond the passage of the budget, I was very happy with the kind of cooperation that is existing between the legislature and the judiciary, and the pronouncement recently by the Minister of Budget and National Planning that the country is going back to the culture of national development planning. I think this is important because developmental interventions, as I've said severally on this and other fora, is a coordinated process that involves interrelationships and dependencies, and that passing of the budget in itself, if you look at it, is one of the components of the plan, which is a short-term component. Okay. But when we have a longer-term plan that incorporates basically 3 issues. Number 1, financial sustainability of sources of revenue. Number 2, designing a framework that improves sources of financing capital expenditure beyond the dependency on the debt, but importantly, institutionalizing a coherent monitoring and evaluation framework that will encapsulate every aspect of Nigerian public finances. That will go a long way in giving the country a sense of direction. Recently, I was coordinating a national program by Tertiary Education Trust Fund, the first in the history of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for a public sector agency to undertake impact assessment of its intervention in the last 20 years.
All right.
I'm using this opportunity to call on every single governmental agency that is using public resources to subject itself to some scrutiny. Let us evaluate the impact of the resources being used for public finances.
Thank you very much, Professor Nazifi Abdullahi Dama. It's always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you very much. And good